I have another motion here that the Committee of Adjustment minutes dated March 23rd, 2022 be adopted as presented. Any discussion, concerns? Not seeing any. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Webster, seconded by Kennedy. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Will the Secretary Treasurer please explain the request for the deferred application this evening?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The applicant, through discussion with staff, has requested deferral to a future meeting date to finalize the details of the proposal.
Thank you. I have a motion then that the Committee of Adjustment receive the request for referral related to application A16/22. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Cooney, seconded by Kennedy. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carried. Welcome to this Committee of Adjustment meeting to allow the public an opportunity to express their views regarding the proposed minor variances and consents within the Township of Springwater. Each applicant and their agent, if applicable, will be given the opportunity to present their application to the committee in public. Additional information on each of the applications, including any presentation materials, is available in the committee agenda on the Township website. Following, those members of the public whom registered to make oral submissions prior to 4:30 p.m. yesterday, April 26, 2022, will be given the opportunity to do so. All oral submissions will be included in this meeting's minutes and form part of the public records, including the name and address of the speaker, as information collected under the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. The minutes of the meeting will be posted on the Township website. All comments or questions should be addressed through the chair. I'll ask the Secretary Treasurer now to please introduce the first application, item number 4.1 in the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. Item 4.1 on the agenda is consent application BO222 submitted by M&M Webster and B&L French, owners of lands known municipally as 3612 Grenfell Road and 3584 Grenfell Road. The purpose of the application is to obtain approval for a boundary adjustment consent to sever and convey a parcel of vacant land at 3612 Grenfell Road, measuring approximately 0.63 hectares, 1.55 acres in area. The severed lands are proposed to be added to and merged with the abutting residential property, 3584 Grenfell Road.
Thank you. Has there been any additional correspondence or comments that have been received?
Owners of 3514 Grenfell Road stating no concerns with the proposed boundary adjustment, the chief building official stating no objection, the drainage superintendent stating that the property is not assessed into a municipal drain, and the manager of roads and fleet stating no concerns.
Thank you. May I please have the applicant introduce themselves and provide information as to what they're looking for.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Thank you, committee, for hearing our application. We're the Websters, and we moved here a couple years ago. We're not new to the area, but we are new to Springwater. I'm Mandy. What's your name?
My name's Brody.
I'm Mike, and this is baby Charlie.
So we bought this property, like I said, the July previous. We had been looking for a country property for a long time, a couple years. And we lived in Barrie for 8 years before that in a subdivision. We were always hoping to find this area, and we did, and we are so excited. And then when the opportunity arose to talk to Bill and Lorraine about purchasing some land from them, we jumped on it, and they accepted. So now we're hoping that you guys agree to that as well. We're just a growing family. We'd like some more property. I grew up on 10 acres and we're trying to make that dream come true for our kids now. We just want that extra green space for us.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public registered this evening to make any comments?
Thank you. There are no members of the public registered to make oral submission.
Thank you. Members of the committee, do you have any questions or concerns? Mr. Webster, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah. I just would like to, for the record, state that because my last name is the same as the applicant's name, I don't believe we're related. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, but the Webster's name is a little prolific around, so pleased to meet you. But there's no pecuniary interest, so just to make that clear. I do want to mention that my time on council between 2010 and 2014, Mr. and Mrs. French made many presentations and comments in a negative fashion to the fact that they back onto the Barrie Gun Club. And the land that you're about to get through this process will also be backing on to the Barrie Gun Club. As you probably know from where you live now, they shoot guns there and they make a lot of noise. And I would hope that you recognize that in the severance application and that council won't be hearing from you on the basis of the fact that you're inconvenienced perhaps by the noise. So I just want to put that out there for your thought.
Yeah, we've discovered that over the past year and a half, but it doesn't faze us. I actually grew up abutting the gun club in Cookstown, where I grew up. So the noise actually didn't faze us. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other members of the committee have any questions or concerns or comments? Not seeing any then. I have a resolution then on item motion for B0222, that the Committee of Adjustment, having given consideration to the applicable provisions of Section 53 of the Planning Act, the official plan of the Township of Springwater, the characteristics of the subject land and its surrounding as addressed in the planning report on the subject application dated April 27, 2022, correspondence received and information presented at the hearing held on April the 27th, 2022, and the discussion on the matter, hereby approve of application B02/22 as applied for, subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the applicant meet all requirements, financial or otherwise, of the municipality. Number two, that the applicant provide 2 copies of the registered survey of the conveyed lands prepared by an Ontario land surveyor. Number three, that the owner applicant satisfy and be responsible for all costs to satisfy Section 65 of the Drainage Act 1990, if applicable. And number four, that the conveyed lands be merged with the benefiting lands known municipally as 3584 Grenfell Road. Webster family, you understand all those conditions?
We do, yeah.
Okay. May I have a mover and a second then please? Moved by Kennedy, seconded by Vanderweilen. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. There's a 20-day appeal period. After that, you can move forward with this.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cooney, you okay? Do you have to respond to that call? Thank you. Application number 2. I ask the Secretary Treasurer now to please introduce the next application, item number 4.2 on the agenda.
Item 4.2 on the agenda is consent application B0322 submitted by M. Slocum, owner of the lands known municipally as 1098 Cullum Road. The purpose of the application is to obtain approval of a boundary adjustment consent to convey a parcel of vacant farmland at 1098 Cullum Road, measuring approximately 10.1 hectares, 25 acres, to the abutting parcel municipally known as 4230 Highway 26. The applicant proposes to retain approximately 9.2 hectares, 22.67 acres of lot area.
Thank you. Has there been any additional correspondence or comments that have been received?
Yes, comments were received from the chief building official and manager of roads and fleet stating no concerns, and the drainage superintendent stating that the property is not assessed into any municipal drain.
Thank you. Can I please have the applicant introduce themselves and advise us what it is that you're looking for this evening?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thanks for having us. My name is Matt Slocum, and this is my wife, Joanna. In 2019, we purchased this farm with the intention of running it as a hobby farm for a long-term objective, kind of a retirement plan. And these ideas have morphed into we're aspiring orchardists as well. So we're looking at expanding on that opportunity. We've slowly started planting out, and we have about 1.5 acres already planted with berries. And our next door neighbor approached us about a boundary adjustment and was interested in as much land as we were willing to part with. Now, for our goals and everything that we're looking to achieve, the acreage that we're looking at keeping of approximately 21 acres is perfect for our long-term goals. It's kind of exactly what we needed, and we were able to work this out with Mr. Graham McNabb, our next door neighbor. So our goal is to do this boundary adjustment and sever off 25 acres to the next door neighbor to achieve some of our goals a little bit sooner.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public registered to make any comments this evening?
Thank you. There are no members of the public registered to make oral submission.
Thank you. Committee, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns? Member Cooney, go ahead.
Through the chair to staff, I just have a question with respect to the circulation. Was there circulation completed with the Ministry of Transportation, and was there circulation with the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority? And did you get any response? Thank you.
Thank you, Member Cooney, through Chair Gannon to yourself. Both the Ministry of Transportation and NVCA were circulated as part of the application. I believe that the applicant also spoke with them prior to submitting the application directly as some pre-consultation, but no, we did not receive any formal comments through the circulation process.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure we had circulated. That's all. Thank you.
Seeing none, then I have a motion then for B0322 that the Committee of Adjustment, having given consideration to the applicable provisions of Section 53 of the Planning Act, the official plan of the Township of Springwater, the characteristics of the subject land and its surrounding as addressed in the planning report on the subject application dated April 27, 2022, correspondence received and information presented at the hearing held on April the 27th, 2022, and the discussions on the matter hereby approve of application B03/22 as applied for, subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the applicants satisfy all requirements, financial or otherwise, of the municipality. Number two, that the applicant provide 2 copies of the registered survey of the severed lands prepared by an Ontario land surveyor. Number three, that the owner applicant satisfy and be responsible for all costs, satisfy Section 65 of the Drainage Act 1990 if applicable. And number four, that the conveyed lands be merged with the benefiting lands known municipally as 4230 Highway 26. You understand that, Mr. Slocum?
I do, yes.
Thank you. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Vanderwill and seconded by Cooney. All in favor? The motion is carried. There's a 20-day period, and after that, you can move forward. Thank you. Okay, moving over to action reports, and I'll ask the clerk who is online here to introduce action report number 6.1 of the agenda this evening. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Gannon. Through you to the members. The report before you this evening is regarding the process moving forward for committee meetings. At the April 6th council meeting, a report was presented to them to seek their authorization on how they would like to move forward with council meetings. The recommendations before them were to remain virtual, go back to in-person meetings, as well as seek their authority to bring forward a subsequent report about the possibility of hybrid meetings. So ensuring that the council chambers could accommodate hybrid meetings with the proper technology. Council did pass that motion, and as part of that, each committee and each board would decide how they would move forward with meetings for the remainder of the term. So that is how this report has been brought forward based on that recommendation from council and that ultimate motion from council. Now, the report in front of you does have does outline a few considerations for the committee to review while making their decision. I won't go through all of them, but I did want to bring forward the most important one, the one that would affect members, staff, guests, and applicants the most, which would be mitigating any ongoing health concerns. With the province being in the 6th wave of COVID, it would be important for members to take into consideration the accessibility of residents or applicants, agents, staff with accessing an in-person meeting. As with that method, there would be no way of participating electronically until a hybrid method would be available. At this time, staff are working on the hybrid method, but we don't have a timeline available on when it would be ready. And it would still require council's authorization based on the costing that we receive to retrofit council chambers. And with that, I am available for any questions that committee members have.
Thank you, Clerk Ainsworth. To the committee, any questions, comments, concerns? Don't see anything happening here, which is an interesting sight. So we sort of have to have a decision or a comment then. So I have 2 motions here in front of me. One is continue virtual and the other is to go in person. So I'm going to read continue virtual because I suggest that Mr. Webster, I thought Mr. Webster had his hand up there, but he doesn't really.
Yes, okay. Chair Gannon, I think we should continue virtual. Seems to work well, and it doesn't change anything. So we're not trying to figure out, well, are we or aren't we? We're just virtual.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Van der Welen.
I agree with that. It's just, and I think I brought it up at the last meeting, wasn't just that member Webster had some issues, has had a couple issues with coming online, but seeing tonight, it seems to be good. And so I agree with just keeping it the way it is right now. Thank you.
Thank you. I will note that the SWIFT project has commenced in Anton Mills. They are starting the fiber optic cable along Horseshoe Valley Road. All the back of the community is got their survey stakes out to see where the services are. The County of Simcoe actually posted a map today that you can go on and see what the internet speed is, the broadband speed is in your particular community. So interesting to see that. So being that, I have a motion then for item 6.1 on the agenda, that the report of the clerk regarding committee meeting process, virtual or in person, dated April 27th, 2022 be received, and that the Committee of Adjustment meetings continue to be conducted virtually for the remainder of the term. I have a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Webster, seconded by Van der Welen. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Is there any other business this evening from the committee? I will just ask the Secretary Treasurer, generally, I think it's June, there is a conference for Committee of Adjustment. Have you heard anything?
For OCA, no, I haven't yet, but I can look into that and I'll let you know when I get any information on it.
Thank you.
I know at one point they were saying it was going to be in person, I think in Collingwood or Blue Mountains, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's still the case.
Okay, thank you. Any other business, committee? Go ahead, Member Cooney.
Thank you, Chair, through to staff. Perhaps it's more directed to Director Spagno. I just wanted to ask a question about the minutes. When committee members ask a question, it's stated in the minutes, but there's never really an answer indicated in the minutes. Is that I guess, I know you spoke about it. I'm just trying to understand that responses won't be put in the minutes when committee members ask a question.
Through you, Chair Gannon, to Committee Member Cooney. I'm going to do my best at explaining the reason for that, but I will rely on Clerk Ainsworth because she is the the expert on minutes and the direction of that. The idea is that the aspect of the minutes is supposed to capture the content and identify that the committee had a discussion. But the idea is that they're not supposed to paraphrase specific conversations, because those conversations might be misunderstood by the person who's actually writing the minutes, and it could misconstrue the context or what was being said or what was meant by that specific committee member. With your indulgence, Chair, again, I'd like to refer that over to Clerk Ainsworth if there's anything that she'd like to clarify as far as that goes.
Go ahead, Clerk.
Thank you, Chair Gannon, through you to the members. The Municipal Act outlines how minutes are to be taken for meetings, and it notes that minutes are to be without note or comment. It's to specifically capture the decisions of council committees and boards. If you'll note any council meeting minutes, it's very much that decisions of council, recorded votes, pecuniary interest, without any discussion or verbiage that took place throughout the meeting. There are sometimes instances where items are added. Again, through council question period, we label what questions were asked, but we do not put the discussion that took place afterwards. So it's a stipulation from the Municipal Act.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify, because both myself and Member Vanderwill in the last minutes had asked just for clarification on the particular lots and the size of the buildings that were going on them, and the applicant did respond with no issues. It just kind of, I thought, left the minutes open-ended, but that's fine.
Thank you, Member Cooney. Any other discussions or conversations, comments? Not seeing any then. I have a motion that this Committee of Adjustment meeting held on April the 27th, 2022 does now adjourn at 7:22 p.m. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Webster, seconded by Kennedy. All in favor? This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a
Sorry,
good night.
Seeing and talking as well.
sorry I was late.
No problem.